And good afternoon, I'm Jane Robelo. We continue to cover the devastation that's been left in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Right now, Air Force One is landing at Greenville-Spartanburg Jetport. President Joe Biden is visiting North Carolina and South Carolina today. He's going to survey the damage that's been left behind by Helene. You're looking right now at a live look at GSP. The president is scheduled to meet with South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. He is also going to meet with North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. Senator Lindsey Graham will be in the upstate as well, surveying the damage and in on these meetings at GSP. Along with them, some representatives from the area, upstate representatives from the 4th Congressional District. William Timmons will be there. Also 3rd Congressional District, which includes Lawrence County. Jeff Duncan will be there. And some local representatives as well, representatives of local government. Greenville Mayor Knox White will be in attendance, and Spartanburg Mayor Jerome Rice will be in attendance. Now, William Timmons tells me, there you see Air Force One landing on the tarmac at GSP. William Timmons tells me that they are planning to discuss with the president, asking for additional disaster declarations for other South Carolina counties and also additional resources for North Carolina. I see that our Gabrielle Komorowski is on the ground there. I'm not sure if you can hear me, Gabby, but first, as we're watching Air Force One touch down here, I'm curious, nice to see it with those beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains in the background, but I'm curious, what kind of disruption has this made for passengers at GSP? Are they able to kind of continue getting people where they need to go as we welcome the president?
Hey, Jane, and just so you know, I'm having a bit of a trouble hearing you and hearing my voice back in my ear, so I apologize for the bit of the delay. But yes, it is a very, very hot Wednesday afternoon here at GSP Airport. We are waiting for Air Force One to touch down here on the tarmac, and really, it is such a hot day, and our hearts go out to all of the people right now who are still without power in the upstate and in western North Carolina, people who are still without water, people who don't have power on this very hot day. And that is why President Biden is coming here to talk to officials and to offer some support as well after this unprecedented and historic disaster. Jane, you talked about the impact to travelers, and I'm just pulling up my notes here. I talked a short time ago to officials at GSP Airport. They said for passengers flying into and out of GSP, they say there will be a minimal impact this afternoon. We're told that the FAA will close the airspace when the president is out of Air Force One, but again, airport officials tell us it will be a minimal impact to passengers. As you can see right there, the Air Force One has touched down here at GSP Airport.
And Gabby, I know that it means so much to people. In many of these news conferences that we've been listening to for the past several days, we've heard people say over and over that when there is a big natural disaster like this, like we've experienced in our viewing area, that typically federal assistance is not the first thing to come. It should not be expected to be the first thing to come. FEMA says that first it counts on local resources, and local officials even saying they count on people helping their neighbors. So while there's been some frustration, I think, with people and with certain counties over the lack of federal response, even though the president did grant both Governor Cooper and Governor McMaster disaster declaration notices even ahead of the storm so that they could move those federal assistance into place faster. Still, people are always saying, why isn't it happening quicker? So I feel like just seeing Air Force One land at GSP with the governors of both states has got to be just a good signal to people who are in need.
Really loud right now here at GSP Airport. Jane.
Yes, go ahead, Gabby. Sorry. Gabrielle Komorowski is on the tarmac.
All right, so we are seeing, this is really a magnificent sight. Hey, Jane, really, really loud here at GSP Airport as we are seeing this truly magnificent sight of Air Force One touching down right here at the cargo terminal of GSP Airport. We have seen Secret Service all around, canines, and now we wait for President Joe Biden to get off the plane. Jane, you talked a short time ago about that emergency declaration for the Carolinas. We do know that President Biden has approved that emergency declaration, allowing people in South Carolina to apply for federal disaster assistance. Much of the upstate is eligible, and you did talk about some what we're hearing, frustration from some counties who may not have made it onto that initial list. In his update yesterday afternoon, shortly before 3 o'clock, Governor Henry McMaster did note and say that he anticipates that the number of counties eligible for federal disaster assistance from FEMA will grow. In our area, the governor said yesterday he does expect Abbeville, Lawrence, and Union counties to be added to that list. That is what Governor McMaster said yesterday. Now, that is in addition to many other counties in the upstate that are already on that list. Those counties including Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg, Cherokee, Oconee, Greenwood, and Pickens counties. We have made it very easy for folks to learn how to apply for that federal assistance. You can head to WYFF4.com and learn more about that. And we're seeing there now people getting off of Air Force One, and we wait for President Joe Biden to get off the plane. Jane?
Yes, I texted with Representative William Timmons, 4th Congressional District, earlier today, and I just asked, will there be an ask of the president, or are you just meeting with him before he takes a look? And he responded that they are actually going to be in discussions with the president, both states, and focusing on that additional disaster declarations for other counties, both in North Carolina and in South Carolina, getting additional resources. I think no one expected this storm to have the impact that it has had. And I think that the delegations here from both states are anticipating that when the president does get on Marine One and actually see for himself just the vast devastation, that will encourage and inspire perhaps more federal assistance. We see the steps lowering now. This should be the gate of the plane where President Joe Biden will come down onto the tarmac at Greenville-Spartanburg Jetport. And of course, the delegation waiting to meet with him.
And Jane, we should note when we were allowed here onto the tarmac that there are 3 Osprey aircraft also here at GSP Airport. We're told when President Biden lands and gets off the plane, he will eventually make his way over to Marine One, and that is what he will take to survey the devastation in western North Carolina. We did ask if he would be touching down anywhere in western North Carolina. We were told likely no. That was the answer that we received a short time ago. Certainly, of course, this is a fluid situation, but we were told that the president likely would just be taking a look at the devastation from above. I'm seeing there South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, Senator Lindsey Graham, and other members of Team South Carolina here. We also saw Greenville Mayor Knox White, Spartanburg Mayor Jerome Rice, all now walking closer to greet the president when he gets off Air Force One. Jane?
Certainly a high degree of security, Gabby. You had mentioned that earlier. We see the presidential limousine, commonly referred to as the Beast, and other security vehicles there as we await President Joe Biden. Also interesting to note that this is the first visit by a sitting president to a South Carolina disaster zone since September of 2018. That's when then President Donald Trump took a walking tour of Conway down in Horry County. That was after Hurricane Florence. So this will be the first time that a president has needed to come to the state of South Carolina to actually lay eyes on a disaster, but certainly a rarity for a disaster zone to be declared in the upstate and the mountainous regions from a hurricane. Helene left such a wide swath of incredible damage that's still being assessed, still so many people unaccounted for, so many people mobilizing, trying to help neighbors in need. And we know that day by day, power continues to be restored. We look forward to seeing those power outage numbers go down every single day, but certainly federal assistance will serve a great need. Here we see some
And
of the
also,
delegation
Jane,
on the tarmac. We see Governor Cooper there. Sorry, Gabby, go ahead.
Also, Jane, we were both remarking on the really sobering fact that South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster shared during his update yesterday afternoon around 3 o'clock, sharing that the number of deaths in South Carolina as a result of Helene has now surpassed the number of deaths from Hurricane Hugo back in 1989. Hugo killed 35 people, the governor said. Helene, the governor said yesterday, resulted in 36 confirmed deaths, and that was the number released yesterday. Sadly, Governor McMaster sharing that that number may continue to grow.
Us who remember Hurricane Hugo so vividly from 1989, just the huge amount of destruction that it caused. The number of deaths in South Carolina alone have now surpassed that. Really speaks volumes. We see the delegation there of people ready to greet President Biden as he comes to the upstate and will survey damage both in North Carolina and in South Carolina. The governors of both Carolinas, Governor Henry McMaster of South Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina, both at the base of those steps waiting to greet him, and also local, as Gabrielle just mentioned. Spartanburg Mayor Jerome Rice and also Greenville Mayor Knox White are in this delegation. So we have state officials, city officials, representatives, congressional representatives, and here we see President of the United States, Joe Biden, descending the steps to take a look at the survey, to survey the damage, and just also, I'm sure, offer inspiration to people who are in such desperate need. You see Senator Lindsey Graham. The delegation
and
greeting
Jane,
the president.
Hearing from these, we have been listening to so many updates from officials in many counties in the upstate over the past few days, just sharing the devastation throughout the upstate and the number of power outages. But what I've been hearing from speaking to many people also is the word lucky, because yes, so many of us inconvenienced with power outages, but thinking about the devastation that our friends in Western North Carolina are dealing with right now, it is utterly heartbreaking. I went home and I said to my husband, you know, that what we're seeing in Western North Carolina, it makes me want to cry. And I think we see the President Biden right there shaking hands with Greenville Mayor Knox White, saying some words to Mayor White, shaking hands with Spartanburg Mayor Jerome Rice. And I'm sure these mayors are so grateful to have him here, greeting people here in South Carolina. But we know that the folks in Western North Carolina really need that support. They really need that comfort right now. Jane, we were listening to that press conference yesterday in Buncombe County, where we heard from the National Urban Search and Rescue Team that was set up in Buncombe County. Scott Dean with the National Urban Search and Rescue Team just talked about the miles and miles of complete devastation in Buncombe County. So again, President Biden here shaking hands with members of Team South Carolina, but he will soon get on Marine One and take a look at that devastation in Western North Carolina from the sky. And the devastation is just heartbreaking. Bridge closures, no power, no water, what officials are calling complete infrastructure failure.
It seems to be that what we're witnessing right now, looking at these governors and local officials, is that even a month away, a little more than a month away from the presidential election, this kind of disaster doesn't play politics. This kind of disaster isn't about Republicans and Democrats. This disaster is about elected officials coming together to serve the people who they represent. And it's just a great comfort, I think, as you had said, to these officials, to these leaders, these elected leaders, and also to the people who are watching, who desperately need this help, to see federal, local, state, all coming together to try to serve the people and try to get over these horrible disaster, infrastructure disasters, find missing people. There's just so much work that needs to be done. And the search and rescue is still going on. We can't forget that.
Absolutely. We're seeing there Greenville Mayor Knox White and Spartanburg Mayor Jerome Rice walking back here behind the gates that many of us members of the media are staying behind. Greenville County and Spartanburg County, according to South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster's update yesterday, are the top two counties in South Carolina without power outages. As of yesterday in Greenville, 165,137 outages. In Spartanburg, 135,951 outages. So that was the update yesterday. We are grateful that those numbers are still are continuing to go down every day, but that's a lot of people impacted. So we know that having those mayors of the city of Greenville and the city of Spartanburg there to greet the president, certainly grateful for the attention that is being given to this tragedy.
We see on the president's left, I believe that's 4th District Representative Timmons, and then on his right, 3rd District Representative Jeff Duncan with Governor Henry McMaster straight in front of him, who had been bending his ear from the moment he got off the plane. Certainly looks like this delegation has the complete attention of the President of the United States. And as Gabby mentioned, yes, so much has happened. We want to give a great, huge thanks to the power crews and the swift water crews and the numbers of people trying to get internet back up. People have coming literally from as far away as Canada. There are crews here in Texas, many of them stationed right in Greenville at the Haywood Mall. It's an opportunity for us to say thank you to the Red Cross workers and just all of the aid workers who have come in from other states and literally other countries to try and help get the Carolinas back on our feet again. Thank you to them, and also to the many, many local service agencies. Many of those people are without power themselves, sleeping on cots in schools and other places so that they can still reach out and help their neighbors in need. We are seeing such a great measure of help coming just from neighbor to neighbor. And now, as you see, the state asking for a bit more assistance from the federal government. We see Lindsey Graham as well right there, asking, again, we've been told by William Timmons and also by Senator Graham that they are planning to ask the president for more federal assistance.
And this is really a situation where I think as more people are moving around in our communities, and some people who may not have ever lost power or may have had their power restored very quickly, may have been feeling a sense of somewhat normal compared to others. But as people start moving around, driving around in our communities, so many people have remarked on the fact that there are trees down everywhere. People are saying it just the devastation is, and it's really trees in the upstate. We've seen so many trees down. Grateful for, especially compared to our friends in Western North Carolina, it seems little infrastructure damage, but just those trees coming down, causing so much damage, so many power outages, taking down those power lines with them. I want to share the update as we were talking about all of the updates that we've been receiving from officials in our counties. As of yesterday in Greenville County, Jane, 59% of residents still did not have power. That was according to an update we received from Greenville County officials yesterday afternoon. We are expecting to receive updated numbers soon. However, thankfully, those numbers are coming down day by day. So today is Wednesday. On Monday, officials said 72% of Greenville County was without power. 59% of Greenville County was without power as of yesterday. Officials also still reminding people that there are still search and rescue teams working, people trapped behind trees and wires that cannot get out of their homes. So even if for some it feels normal, for lack of a better word, there is still a long, long way to go. And that is why Air Force One has touched down this afternoon at the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport. This national attention certainly needed in our area.
And Gabrielle, you're the mother of a school-age child, and Greenville County schools are closed for a week. Most school districts throughout the area closed. So there is certainly an effort to get kids back to normal too. So many children, depending on the breakfast and the lunches that they eat at schools. I know in Buncombe County, they held a news conference this morning, and Buncombe County schools and Asheville City schools were also calling on teachers, asking them to please get in touch with their districts just to let them know they're okay. You hear something like that. We just need to know that our teachers are okay. Please check in. And I think that's when you really realize the depth of the problem of what we're seeing here, what we're still coping with even days after the storm. But yeah, schools also a big concern. Getting power to those schools and water to those schools is paramount, and then also just making sure there's safe transportation. And as you were just saying a moment ago, Gabby, the biggest problem is those trees that are downed mixed with the power lines. First, they have to be sure that the power is cut off to those lines before they can remove the trees, then restore the power. So it's a tedious process, but safety is paramount for those rescuers and for the people restoring power. And so it just does take some time. America is a great country, and we depend on one another. We have incredible resources, but it just takes individuals first, neighbors looking after neighbors. That's on the front lines. That's what's on the front lines of getting back to some kind of normalcy. And there are so many opportunities too. Don't tune away right now, but at some point, please do go to WYFF4.com. There are so many opportunities that we have listed on our website. Places that you can donate items to, anything diapers and assistance for children, medical needs, food. Also places where you can donate money that will be spent appropriately and will be spent on people in your area, wherever you happen to be. If you can volunteer, even Spartanburg County yesterday was offering paying jobs for people to help with debris collection. So there's no reason to stay home and say, what can I do? But please do stay home and not just get out on the roads. We don't want you to be in the way of the people who are trying to make a difference and get the roads and bridges cleared. But there is so much that every individual can do, from donating items, donating money, donating time, and now is the time to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think so many people who are using that word, you know, that they are grateful, that they feel so fortunate that they are just inconvenienced by this. They want to know, how can I help? And we listened to an update from officials with the American Red Cross yesterday saying, please, if you can, if you're able to and you want to help, share, donate money, donate your time, or donate blood if you can. And I'm hoping, Jane, that we can put that QR code up on our screen right now, showing people that they can scan that and go right to the American Red Cross and help them. And Jane, we know that in situations like this, those blood donations are so important.
That's exactly right. In fact, we heard from the Blood Connection, which is the only source of blood supply for our area hospitals. They were saying just a couple of days ago that they are on a one-day supply. So they are begging people to please come out and donate blood or donate platelets. The bloodconnection.org is how you can find out a Blood Connection donation center that's near you. Blood Connection, thebloodconnection.org, and go and give blood. It's easy. It doesn't take much time. And that is definitely something that you can do to help your neighbors. I mean, this is people who go to the hospital and need to have some blood if there's been an accident or an injury or even a planned surgery. That they are completely dependent on the Blood Connection. And also, Gabby, you mentioned the American Red Cross. That is a donate blood to the American Red Cross or donate money. When you donate money to the American Red Cross, they can use those dollars and place them exactly where they need to be. They can buy water, they can buy food, they can buy specifically what is needed in a certain area. Of course, we do appreciate people donating bottled water and sports drinks and canned food and those things as well. I know the United Way of Greenville County and many other organizations are collecting those items: diapers, formula, wipes, sanitary, just things that people can clean their homes with. All of those things are very important. But if you don't have the means of being able to buy those things and get out and deliver them to the appropriate place, we have put on our website a number of different organizations that we have vetted. So we know that your dollars are going to be secure, they're going to be used appropriately, and you can contribute that way, even $5. Anything that you can contribute makes a difference. And good to see Governor Henry McMaster with a smile on his face right there, talking directly with President Joe Biden. Again, this is not a moment for politics. This is a moment for people who are elected politicians to come together for the good of the people in our area and to try and help get people back on their feet, help rescue people, find people, and then aid the people in need, and then eventually get these infrastructure problems cleared up. We've seen so much devastation, even on major interstates in North Carolina. I-40 has just been cleared, but they're still asking people to only drive it if it's absolutely necessary.
Jane, sharing an update on that federal assistance for folks that have just tuned in this afternoon. We do know that President Biden has approved an emergency declaration for South Carolina, allowing people to apply for federal disaster assistance. Something also that a lot of people are curious about is, if I have insurance, can I get FEMA assistance? We dug into this a little bit yesterday, and officials with FEMA say they cannot help if you have insurance. However, they can help for situations that are uninsured or underinsured. So the takeaway is, do apply for that help if you have been impacted, and head to WYFF4.com for more information on that. We see President Joe Biden here walking now on the tarmac, Jane.
Yes, thank you, Gabby. That was a very good point to mention. Go ahead and apply for that assistance if you feel like you have been impacted. All right, President Biden now walking away from that delegation, and we've been told that he will board Marine One, that helicopter obviously able to get a lot closer to the ground and get over specific areas of concern, both in South Carolina, in the upstate of South Carolina, and in western North Carolina. Their district representative, William Timmons, telling me earlier today, about just a few minutes ago, in fact, that they're really hoping that the president will give additional disaster declarations for other South Carolina counties and additional resources for North Carolina. South Carolina and North Carolina coming together here on the tarmac at Greenville-Spartanburg Jetport, meeting with the President of the United States, just to help him understand the needs that the people of their two states have.
And Jane, President Biden now there on Marine One. I did ask some members of the team that were here. I asked, what kind of aircraft are those? Are those other ones? Because I wasn't sure. They are Osprey aircraft. Jane, you have from your career a knowledge of these aircraft. They are Osprey aircraft, and the president there on Marine One. Other members that will be traveling with him are now getting on those Osprey aircraft, and will also be heading up into the sky and taking a look at that devastation in western North Carolina. We have seen so much of it from Sky 4, and it is truly heartbreaking what the president is about to head up to the mountains to see. We heard yesterday from the sheriff of Buncombe County, Quentin Miller, confirming yesterday 57 confirmed deaths in Buncombe County. That was yesterday. Sadly, officials believing that number will continue to go up and may already have. It is being described as miles and miles of complete devastation in Buncombe County. Weeks for water to be restored is the estimate. The devastation is horrific. It's getting louder here on the tarmac of GSP Airport as Marine One, we expect, will soon be heading into the air. We can hear those Osprey aircraft whipping around, and they are getting ready to go take a first-hand look at that heartbreaking devastation in western North Carolina.
And Gabby, I don't have confirmation, but it did look like Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas is with the president as well. Again, that's just me getting a visual. I don't know that we have confirmation on that, but it did appear to be that the Secretary of Homeland Security is also with the president on the tarmac. Yes, quite a scene in Greenville, South Carolina, as the President of the United States focuses his attention on the devastation in these two states that's been caused by Hurricane Helene, a storm of epic proportion. Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice says he has never seen anything like this. Others are saying that the trillions and trillions of gallons that were dumped on the southeast United States from this one storm is just absolutely unprecedented. And of course, huge amounts of water like that coming down in such a short period of time, creating such chaos, especially up in the mountains of North Carolina. We've just seen cities, little towns like Chimney Rock, just wiped out. That might not be an overstatement. Creating such devastation that we've just not seen here before. But the President of the United States is going to put eyes on it in just a few minutes, right here from Marine One. He has heard from congressional delegation members, William Timmons and Jeff Duncan, representing the 3rd and 4th districts of South Carolina. He's heard from North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper there on the tarmac, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, also hearing from Senator Lindsey Graham, and then local mayors. I think that's terrific that local cities were able to meet with the president face-to-face. Mayor Knox White of Greenville and Mayor Jerome Rice of Spartanburg meeting with the president to just be able to tell him what the people of their cities need from the federal government. So there's Marine One. After a meeting of about 30 minutes with the delegation on the tarmac, and they're getting ready to lift off, and the president will be able to see for himself what he's been hearing about.
The wind was whipping here on the tarmac. It was very strong just a few moments ago as we see Marine One prepare to take off. See those Osprey aircraft follow. You see it right there. About to see that heartbreaking devastation in western North Carolina. We've been talking about the need for federal assistance in both states and sharing that South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster did say in his update just around 3 o'clock yesterday that he anticipates the number of counties in South Carolina eligible for federal disaster assistance from FEMA will grow. The governor expecting Abbeville, Lawrence, and Union counties to be added to that list, in addition to many other counties in the upstate that are already on that list, including Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg, Cherokee, Oconee, Greenwood, and Pickens counties. If you need help, this reminder, do apply. Even if you're not sure if you are eligible, federal officials are saying apply. And Jane, we know the members of Team South Carolina who were here to greet the president certainly would welcome that extra federal assistance.
Absolutely. That's what they were asking for today, and we can certainly all believe that that will be something that is granted once the president has laid eyes on this for himself. The Osprey aircraft there behind Marine One taking off, and Gabby, you also mentioned that today is a little bit hotter. I think it's been a blessing that since this storm hit, the temperatures have not been that tight, not been that hot. People without air conditioning, without an opportunity to to get some relief from shade, have at least had relief from clouds and lower temperatures. But today you say it's a little bit different out there.
Oh, it's hot out here. A lot of us members of the press here jokingly saying, you know, what month is it? Are we sure it's not July, because it's October? But this is a day where it is really hot. So our hearts go out to all of those folks who are still without power. And I think the president, when he got off Air Force One, certainly felt that rush of Carolina heat. And I'm sure that just illustrates what so many people in the Carolinas are dealing with no power, but not even just no power. It's so heartbreaking. We were hearing from the folks there in Buncombe County in western North Carolina yesterday that people cannot drink. There is not water for people to drink. So imagine that on a day when it is this hot. We know it's a little cooler in the mountains, but on a day when it is this hot and you're having a hard time finding water, it's just utterly heartbreaking. So you just saw Marine One take off, taking President Joe Biden to the mountains of western North Carolina, where he will see that devastation with his own eyes. Jane?
Gabby, thank you so much. And I'm certain that people do feel some great degree of comfort in knowing that the President of the United States quite literally has eyes on the devastation that they are experiencing on the ground. Gabby, thank you so much. We do want to remind you, too, that at 2:30, Greenville County will have its update on the situation going on here with schools, with power, with debris, etc. So make sure that you stay tuned. Tune in at 2:30 for that, and we'll join you then. We now return to your regular programming.